Hello neighbors. Thank you so much to everyone who came and attended the BIg Basin Water rate increase meeting. It was extremely informative, and it was great seeing neighbors come together and express themselves and really communicate their experiences to the member of the board who was there and to, of course, the Moors. There was a ton of great information communicated that's going to be important for us all to grasp so that we can make an informed decision about whether to support or not to support the rate increase. We do have a video of the meeting. Unfortunately, it looks like the back half of it may be corrupted. So we've got the first half uploaded on the YouTube channel. Please feel free to take a look. Most of the important information is in that first half. And we'll give you a synopsis of everything here in this video so that you're not missing out on any important details. So again, the meeting was very well attended, and it was great to see the community involvement. The rep from the CPUC, a gentleman named William Tsai, he collected all the questions to put into a file for BIg Basin Water. And now, according to Jim Moore, the money that is raised by this rate increase will go toward operational costs. And Damien also said the money would qualify them for larger loans to tackle the bigger issues. And I personally think that's a good argument for why we could potentially support the rate increase. The rate increase alone is not going to be enough to cover any of the maintenance issues that we're concerned about. But if the rate increase can help them get a loan that would cover these things, then it could be huge and positive for the whole community. So that's something we will have to consider. Damien stated again that a private buyer is interested in buying BIg Basin Water, but of course he wouldn't give any details. As far as a private buyer buying BIg Basin Water, instead of going the receivership route, we'll have to sit down and really analyze the pros and cons of that. We personally feel it's important that a public partner be brought to bear in the situation so infrastructure funds can be received. I personally have a concern that if a private buyer picks up BIg Basin Water and they run out of money for repairs, we could be in the same situation. So that is something to consider with that information. So customers do not get a vote when it comes to this. So the process is, it isn't straightforward in that way. We're not going to cast a ballot, yay or nay, on the rate increase. What we can do is we can write in and express support or protest. And the CPUC will take into account all the feedback they get. So it does matter. At the end of the day, the CPUC is going to make the decision about whether the rate increase moves forward or not. But the community voice will matter. So please go to customersofbbw.com. You'll find a template there so you can write your letters and express your stance. And if you do decide to write and support it, it's recommended that stipulations are placed on it. We think it would be wise if we insisted that with the increase comes oversight, just to make sure that the spending is correct and appropriate, and that it's going in the right direction. All right, so the deadline to file a protest or to express your support is April 24th by midnight, and this includes the postmark date for physical mailings. You don't have to mail it physically. You can send an email, of course, which should make it much easier for us all to participate. But they have to be sent to the CPUC. You can also send them to the BIg Basin Water Company, but of course your best bet is to send it directly to the CPUC. If you're supporting this, it would be a great idea to request a business plan be made available to the CPUC and whoever is doing the oversight as a stipulation to the rate increase. So those are the main details. Those are the things that we need to keep in mind. The date coming up for the for last kind of reception of people's protests or positive thoughts about the increase is April 24th. Go to the website, make your voice heard. Now we have another issue that's pending in the community as well, involving the sewer system the BIg Basin Water runs. And this is a huge issue because it affects a lot of people who are fire rebuilds, including myself and my family. So the sewer system, as it is right now, isn't functioning, and Jim Moore and his team are basically pumping out the holding tanks periodically in order to maintain a level of service. And the CPUC and the state have found that to be unacceptable, and so they sent notice they're requiring the county to cease any forward progress in this neighborhood, which is absolutely destroyed by the CZU fires. Almost everyone who is here is trying to rebuild, and folks who have successfully rebuilt won't be able to get their finals and move into their homes if something isn't done, and if the stance that's currently in place doesn't change. The state does not want the county to issue any permits and no occupancy certificates either until the system is correct. And we're just going to have to find a workaround, because this could take up to 5 years to get to where the CPUC wants to be, and none of the families here have that much time. They don't have the time that we've already spent. We're 3 years in right now, and I can tell you, in my neighborhood that used to have almost 30 homes, there are there's one home that's successfully rebuilt so far. One. And we've got another 4 or 5 people that are hopeful, and a lot of folks who just have a parcel who haven't broken ground yet, who invested and want to come and live in our beautiful neighborhood. And I support them, and I support all of us who are trying to rebuild here, and we're going to need your support as well in pushing back against this idea that it's okay to pause people coming home for almost 5 years in order to fix a system that we weren't responsible for maintaining in the first place. This system is one that we've been paying maintenance fees on for years, and BIg Basin Water was unable to insure this system because they haven't been licensed in well over a decade. Regulating them isn't the neighborhood's responsibility. And so the county, who should have been keeping an eye on these things, is going to have to come up with a solution that takes care of these families. So we need to be creative. Why not offer these folks composting toilets or incinerating toilets? The problem is the sewage, and there are ways around using the sewage system, or adding more people to the sewage system, without making people homeless. And it's unconscionable that these ways haven't been considered. That the county would send out a letter and say, well, good luck to you. Sorry guys, you can't move home. We're not going to issue any more permits, and just leave it at that, as if that's an acceptable solution, to a tragedy that's been unfolding over 3 years, is not something we're going to stand for. But because this neighborhood is small, there's only 30 or 40 of us, we're going to need you guys to stand up with us and push back on this issue as well. Yeah. So, one last comment about the sewer system issue is that the solution the county wants to put into play would have the fire victims paying the cost of these repairs if the county takes over the system. So the county wants to, basically, if they take over the system, they want to do a parcel assessment and charge us a huge tax to cover the cost that they incur. But in addition to that, they want us to pay bills and to pay for the maintenance and the operation of this system that they're potentially charging us to repair in the first place. And that's just, again, unconscionable. So we're definitely going to have to come up with some alternate plans. I don't see any reason why, if the county takes over this system, they couldn't receive public infrastructure funding like what Congressman Panetta and Joe Biden have been talking about and have provided, for many, many communities who have similar issues with deep infrastructure issues. That should be the first place the county is going, not further impoverishing people who are barely hanging on. So please continue to support your neighbors, support CZU fire victims, and support new neighbors who are trying to come to these neighborhoods and live in the mountains and enjoy the same kind of beautiful lifestyle that we all have up here. I want everyone to be able to come home, and it's only going to happen if we push back. The county seems dead set on putting obstacles in the way. And I like that there have been some moves that show a change in culture, but I think it's a change in culture directly related to the pressure the community is putting on these individuals and members of the county government. So please continue doing what you're doing. Again, if you have any questions, go to the customers of BBW.com website, and all of this information and more is available there. So go and read at your leisure and get your letters written, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the neighborhood. One other note. I know these problems seem huge and complicated, and they are, But the reason there's a movement on this issue is because the community came together, and it's amazing. It's great to see, that we all can make a difference working together. I wrote an article recently for the SLV Post on community advocacy and the power of it, and I'll post a link in the comments for you to check it out. Please give it a read. You should all be very proud of yourselves. It's great to see people really engaged, and making government work for them instead of being victimized by it. So, I appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Thank you again.